this week I'd like to cover a story that's been floating around the internet for a little while. Former NFL player Brian Holloway had his house trashed by approximately 300 underage teenagers who wound up breaking into his home over Labor Day weekend. There was a ton of evidence of alcohol abuse, but also drug abuse, including crack and meth. Urine stains and the smell lined the floors. But most importantly, there was over $20,000 worth of damage done, which included graffiti, broken doors and windows, and also stolen property, which included his stillborn grandson's memorial. Over 200 of the teens have been identified because of all of the live tweeting and Instagramming they managed to do during the event, all of which were photos taken by the teenagers at the party. Brian made a website to show off the damage and also work towards repairing, while also displaying a collection of the party photos in an effort to reveal the identities of the kids and teach them a lesson. Brian's goal, he claims, is to help these kids understand that their behavior is unacceptable, and that if they continue acting this way, they can wind up in serious trouble or even worse, dead. The latest update on this story is from TMZ, and they report that the house has actually been vacant for a while. According to the neighbors, the house is actually in foreclosure, and there have been break-ins and parties there many times before this one. So now that you have a background of the story, here is my commentary. Brian was kind enough to not have any of these kids arrested, even though a lot of them were identified. There were a lot of tweets on display on his website, so I specifically went to a lot of profiles to see if they were still active, and a lot of them were gone. So I'm hoping that parents did step in and remove their children's accounts, or at least made them change their usernames for their safety. But unfortunately, there were some kids who were straight up saying that their parents do not care what they do and continue to post about the partying and inappropriate behavior for their age. I feel like events like this should be a wake-up call to the parents to be checking in on their kids' social media accounts and seeing what they're posting. And seeing what especially the boys write on their sites, I would not be a happy mother. Being involved in your kid's life and actually telling them that their behavior is unacceptable does work when enforced correctly. A kid that isn't punished after this, or isn't at least told what they did was wrong, is so much more likely to go out and do it again because they don't know what the right thing to do is, or they don't know when they should stop drinking or what houses are off limits to go to for parties. Statistically, kids are less likely to get involved in heavy drug and alcohol use if they know that their parents will not tolerate stuff like that. Some of these kids had 1997 in their usernames. What parent lets their 16-year-old go to a party where they all claim that they have no idea who was even hosting it, especially in some mysterious abandoned house upstate? In regards to the repairs, if 300 families donated, it would take less than $70 from each of them to cover the repair costs. Considering how much it actually costs to get all of that alcohol and even the drugs that they were spending their money on, I really don't think paying Brian $70 would break the bank. At least for most of the families anyway. As for the decisions of the kids, did they really think it was a bright idea to spray paint their own names on the walls? Did they really think that they would not get caught? Who goes to a party when you don't know who's hosting it? It could have been a trap to lure the kids in and hurt them physically or sexually, and they wouldn't have known. In regards to underage drinking and drug abuse, I'll save it for its own video, but briefly, being sloppy and destructive are two very different things. Kids are always going to drink and get into some sort of trouble, but by destroying someone else's property, broken into or not, you're not proving that you're at the age where you can be physically capable of handling yourself or even respected for drinking. You always hear about these teenage house parties where everything is getting destroyed, but then you see adults going out and they kind of know how to handle themselves better. And then kids wonder why the age is 21 in the United States. Psychologically, your brain is not developed enough to understand consequences at this point in development. Adding alcohol into the mix for a teenager does not help with this. They are biologically unable to cope with drunkenness and yet involve themselves in it anyway. This situation is just an unfortunate mess with a lot of issues at hand. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's talk about the story as it unfolds. And specifically, how do you feel about underage binge drinking? Because I'll be following up with a video just on that in the future. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next video. Bye.